away. We're just looking for update on the projects, I think, first off.
Yeah. Okay. I saw that agenda. That appreciate that, Dave. But yeah, that 9th Street, we did receive the control panel for the 9th Street pump station. It seems like it's taking a while, but the contractor doing the job did all he can do. He put all the piping in. We painted it even. Asphalt for the road patch is even coming next week to patch it. The pumps have supposedly been shipped. We're just waiting for the actual pump to get here. Then we can set them in place, and then we'll have to just do the wiring to hook them up to the control panel. So I'm thinking it's a short, once we get them, he wants to get done too, so he can put in his final invoice. So I'm hoping like when we get them, it'll be a week's time, we'll be done, probably with that.
Are the pumps shipping by ship or by air?
Unfortunately, they're by ship because of freight. We got the discharge elbows so we could go ahead and do all the piping work. It was $400 extra for the contractor, but he air freighted them so we could get them, at least get something done while we were waiting. But the pumps are coming by ship. And we were worried about the strike and all that stuff, but that didn't last long. So hopefully that didn't affect anything. They were supposed to actually be somewhere in port today, the 12th. So we've been bugging the sales guy about twice a week. So as soon as they get in, like I say, as soon as they get here, we can drop them in. Everything else is in place and ready to go. Should be a couple of days of wiring it. Then we have to schedule a startup with the supplier, and he has to come down and check the electrical connections, do a startup, make sure everything was hooked up right to make sure the warranty is good. But I don't see that being, we've been bugging him so much about the pumps. He's kind of feels bad every time we call. So I think he'll show right up.
Sounds like we're just waiting on the pumps and then everything will roll.
On 7th Street, we did a lot of investigation. We tried to get out there. We had trying to get the correct measurement on the back valve. We even bought because we were having a hard time verifying that thing, the size, and getting the water down and getting it to stop. We got out in the bay with the contractor. We tried to get access to the end of that pipe. And what we found out there was it's so much so the storms and with the sand coming in like it has been lately, it was so much silt in front of that pipe. It was about a 50-foot radius where sand had silted in and was all the way. It was only about a 6-inch opening left at the top of that pipe. So in order to even try to dig that out to put a plug in to plug it off, you would almost have to have a machine out there to remove all that sand and debris. And after looking at it with the contractor and thinking about it, like, how are we going to maintain this thing? How are we going to keep it from happening again? He said, man, I'll buy the check valve and put it in, but I don't think it's going to hold up because you can't maintain it. You can't get to it. Silt's going to have that thing, messed up by the amount of silt that's coming in towards that pipe. So we got thinking about it and told the mayor about it. He came down on site and he's all for, like Gary had, we had talked about a long time ago, getting that pump station started and put the pump station in and seal that thing off. Cause it doesn't look like we'd spend $100 and some thousand and it might hold up for a little while, that backflow valve, but I don't see it being a thing that we can maintain and holding up long-term for the price. So we kind of regrouped on that. The mayor has sent an email to our new town administrator, telling him that's a priority 1 project. I'm meeting tomorrow we had like an accountant type person come in to help Joanne with the ARPA money. We're meeting tomorrow to see what we have left. And that's like, right up on top of the list of go ahead and getting that thing moving. We had it. Go ahead.
Don, I was just going to say there is a plan out there. I think a couple of years ago, I did put together a 7th Street pumping station plan that if you want some preliminary ideas on what it might look like, it's give you some idea.
I think we'll use that, Gary. And then we also had an original plan that was supposed to be like the 9th Street, when they were, I guess for whatever, they ran out of money back in 2002 when they did the Fifth Street and Ninth Street original stations. So we do have some, like you said, with your plan and with that plan, I think we have enough. So we don't have to hire an engineer and go through that whole process and, delay it. I think
Yeah.
we can, we can maybe, correct this, get a set of specifications for new, pumps now, whatever kind of pumps we want to use, but just add kind of like a spec page to go with
Mhm.
the plans we have
Sure.
and put that out to bid right away instead of having to get an engineering firm and go through that whole process.
Would that require any acquisition of land, Donnie, or does that?
That could go in the street right there at the corner, like kind of where the boardwalk ends. We have enough room to put the actual, concrete vault in there. The only thing we were looking at with the mayor is the control panel. And we kind of looked at that property there. That's kind of the grass lot where they put the parking for that, whatever the store, I forget the name of that, the bakery kind of store there on the corner.
Elise's, yeah.
Elise's, yeah, Elise's Market. The mayor had even sent an email to Rick Crump to reach out to the property owner. We want to meet on site, and it would only be a small, 2-post control panel with maybe an enclosure, maybe not. So it wouldn't take up no more than, 5 feet by 5 feet right there up against the alley. So that's the only thing that we wouldn't, because we don't want to put it out there on the water where, wave action could damage it because you get so much wave action there. But we could easily come down a pole because it's a PG&E power pole right there. So to come down the pole, put a meter there instead of panel. We could even use a stainless steel exterior panel if we needed to. But
And Doc,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
oh, no, sorry. I was just gonna say, did you say the town has money for that, or do we have to go?
I'll
looking
find
for it?
out tomorrow. Yeah, we had Veronica Atkinson came in, and she's been kind of helping Joe catch up with the ARPA money, the grants that are out there, where we're at on the existing budgets, and with the new CIP budget too. So we're going over what we have left, and the mayor has already told our town administrator, that we've talked about it. He wants to move forward with this because that way he wants to finish that area down there so we can at least, finish as much as we can and say, hey,
Yeah.
get something completed and be done and move on to the next phase. So, that's good news. We were, I was kind of hoping that the check valve would at least stop it for a while, but it'll be $130,000. And, after looking at it and after getting into it, I don't think that would be a wise move to just throw that money away. And it's no real way to maintain it. And with the bay, the way, I thought we could clear away from the front of the pipe and put a plug in there and pump it down. But it's so much silt built out that you can walk on top of it, out in front of that pipe there now. And we pulled a tape measure and did like a radius around the pipe, and you can go 25 feet, anywhere out from that pipe, and you still have, it's a 36-inch diameter pipe, and you probably have 6 inches open, but it's sand that deep for 25, 30 feet at least radius from that pipe out there. So you'd almost have to do like we did at Fifth Street, where you'd have some, big machine come in out there in the water, dig it out, and put rock revetment around there to block the sand from, getting back in the pipe, and then put a check valve, and you still wouldn't have a good way to maintain it. So the cost of that thing, we should put that towards the pump station, I think. And we can discuss that, with Gary and you guys' opinions, but I think that is the right move. And Gary, I know we talked about blocking that pipe off anyway a while back, but we can't really block it off 100% yet because we do have to pump out if we get some rain. We have to get a way to pump out what collects in that area right there at 7th Street, Annapolis, and that I wish we could just cap it off right now, but I'm afraid that we'll have a heavy rain and then we'll have a flood there and no way to get that water out of there without a pump station there first. So that's good.
I was going to say it was worth trying,
Yeah, I say it was worth a try.
But
right.
If it's only got to silt up in another 2 or 3 years, then it's just money wasted, frankly.
That's what I think too, right? And then, it was a good try, like saying, for the cost, but it's just too and you don't have that thing is like 5 feet long, so you don't really have a good place to put it where we could have a access panel to open up and maintain it if we had to either. So it's kind of a tough area. But like I said, I can promise you the mayor did already email, and he wants to like move tomorrow if possible. We also have a temporary person in there now that's helping with RFPs, and that's what she did for Calvert County for years. But we brought her in there to try to speed up the process and get. We had 21 things on the CIP kind of budget ARPA list, and we're trying to get all these things in motion sooner than later. So our town administrator did bring a person in to specifically do RFPs or help with the RFP. We can give her the information, but she's good at putting them together and then getting it out. So I think that process will be pretty quick once we get her what we need. So hopefully that's like I say, by the next meeting, I hope I can tell you all that we have a plan ready to put out for bid for the pump station.
That'd be great.
Yeah. And I think we will, I'm pretty sure.
So excuse me, Donnie, the WayPro valve was gonna be 130 grand?
By the time we installed it, I think the valve itself was like 40. And then the contract, you know, to be able to get that cleaned out, to get it in place and everything that went along with it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm thinking that the bids came in because it was kind of a ghost bid in a way because we wasn't really sure how much we had to do to stop the flow to be able to get the valve in. That was the big cost there, like to dig that sand out, put a plug in, block it off, and be able to get the valve in. But once we saw how much silt's out there in front of that pipe, I was like, man, we'll have to have a barge and a big excavator to pull the sand out to even to get a plug in there to pump it down to get, you know, to take a look at it even.
Hey, Donnie, I'm having trouble. If it's a gravity feed system, it's already plugged, so it's really not doing what it should be doing, right? It's not.
Now,
really
more water's
everything.
coming in, and you know, when the tide goes down, water goes out.
Yeah,
But that's like when the tide's up, it just, if you go down to the Mexican restaurant there and look at the, Bob can tell you this for firsthand, because he was my main man checking the water level there. But if you go to
Says
the
water,
Mexican
yeah.
restaurant and look at the storm drain, it's
Yep.
pretty much 2 or 3 inches below the road most of the time. We get a
yeah,
low tide, then it drains out. But when we get rain and it's up to the height of the road, at least when it goes down, we get enough to where that much runs out. But you
Okay.
only have like six inches of, you know, up
Yeah.
and down there, freeboard there, really. You know, if you get a heavy rain, you might have it back up in the intersection. When we have the tidal surge, you have it back up in the intersection. But when the tide goes down to normal, at least it runs back out. But you're probably, the most I've seen the water level down is like a foot at that storm drain box in Mexico there on Annapolis and 7th Street there. So we're always, you can judge by that with the height of the bay is out there. So it's just a direct connection. So,
okay, yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
but we'd like to plug that thing off, but then I don't want to look like, oh, why'd you do that? Now we can't get the rain out of here, you know. So I can see that as soon as we plug it off, that would happen. It would definitely stop the tidal from coming back in. But even if we had some kind of pumps in there to pump it down, I think we'd be in pretty good shape. But
Yeah,
we talked about, you know, it's a concrete vault there. It's kind of 4x8 probably, and we've even talked about using that as a wet well, so you don't have to tear up the road and, you know, see what it takes to do that. And that could be an RFP that goes out as a design build to put pumps in the existing structure, and that would save a lot of time and trouble because the only thing is with that, you still have to, well, we could plug it from the inside, but you're going to have to cut the asphalt, take the road up there because there's not enough room to get down in those 2 manholes. And then, you know, that road would have to be shut down for a while to investigate all that, plug it off, raise it up, and then do what you need to do. So
yeah,
that's an option. But I think once we start that, the road's going to be shut down for a little while. So that might be a thing to look at, how we can direct traffic and get that problem solved. Up, you know, in front, we can be working on that now. It's a 4x8, but it's probably 3 feet below the level of the road. So you'd have to take the asphalt up, take the brick up, and maybe extend that pit up, whatever size 4x8 of concrete. You have to order like a riser to sit on top of there, and that would give you your vault. But then you'd have to plug it off, pump it down, and then install all the pipe. And then, you know, that's the only plus about not, if you started with a structure, you'd have a dry structure to work in until you connected the two together.
Yeah.
But if you're working in the flooded structure and you got to keep the water out till you get everything done, and then you open it back up again. So we'd have to put some kind of pump around somewhere there, and it's just so many cars and traffic, and it's not a whole lot of room down there to meet. But I mean, in the winter months, it's a lot better in summer because you could set a, like the orange pump we have at 9th Street, we just move that to 7th Street and do kind of a pump around thing while they're working in the existing pit. So that needs to be flushed out, you know, a little bit. So if you think of anything, Gary or Dave or anybody else on that, ideas, look at that, and that could be. But we could also put it out as a design build. Here's existing plan, and here's a pump station plan, but give us a, you know, design build cost to retrofit pumps into the existing well type thing.
Well, as soon as we find out how much money we got,
That's
then
important.
we'll know.
Right. That is the key right there. And we should know tomorrow about that. So
What about Hatch's Corner and that revetment enhancement?
that's what that's at the council meeting coming up on the 22nd. We're gonna either award it to Bayland, and I know Lauren emailed out. Everybody got a copy of the side-by-side comparison? So Bayland gave a proposal for the revetment. Calvert Soil Conservation gave a proposal for an offshore breakwater and an oyster reef there. That's going to be, it's scheduled, it's on the agenda for voting on it on Thursday at the council meeting. That was moved because they had the Maryland Municipal League convention last week, and something's going on this week. So the council meeting's on the 22nd, and that's up for a vote. So once that's voted,
21st, Donnie, 21st.
21st, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Thursday. At 6 o'clock, it's a work session to discuss that. And at 7 o'clock, the council votes who to award either the revetment to what Bayland presented or Calvert Soil Conservation's presentation for the offshore breakwaters and the oyster reef.
Okay, so that is for design only?
Design and have design all the way up to construction drawings. So that's design, full package, have a set of plans to go out to bid. And that, so it'll be a complete design package, right? And we have the gentleman who works at the soil conservation has been proceeding like he wants to do it because he wants it for a pilot project. So he's talked to scientists. He's got a lot of people on board, in other words, that if it happens and they design it, it should be a fairly quick turnaround. And then we put it out to bid, and construction hopefully would start pretty quickly there.
Well, that's exciting.
Nothing, I mean, quickly, relatively speaking, nothing happens overnight, but at least it's moving forward. So
Is there one that we've weighed out that looks better than the other?
I like the oyster reef, the soil conservation, and just because it's North Beach could be like a pilot type project, and we have a lot of environmental and oysters clean the bay. You know what I mean? You not only get the offshore breakwaters, but you get the oyster reef that helps clean up the bay. Plus you get the wave action protection. But it's a pretty good side-by-side comparison. We went back because Baylands was kind of the presentation wasn't nowhere near as strong as the soil conservation was, I didn't think, at the council meeting. But we asked for a more apples to apples comparison. And also when Bayland did that, and they put in their construction drawings and the whole package, they came in at like $70-some thousand. And I think Calvert, I don't want to misspeak on a recorded meeting, but the soil conservation, I don't know if Stacy remembers, but I think that was more around $45,000 for a complete bid package, ready to go. Any kind of mitigation that was involved and everything done. And I think with the oyster reef, we're a whole lot more look better for getting grants from DNR, because DNR is more interested in living stuff instead of just breakwater rock wall. So
Johnny, are there examples of where the oyster reef installations have been successful? I mean, does it really work?
That's what he's been really checking on, and that's my only not really concern. I mean, he's told me verbally, oh, it's going to work. We got scientists. It's kind of, but that was
good example.
That was one of the questions. And to be honest with you, I know he responded, but I don't think they have anything close. They have the oysters that have been living in that type of environment, but they don't have nothing this large a scale project. And that is the one thing, you know, which is a big thing, a huge thing. But the way we were talking about it when we were going back and forth is even if we have the offshore breakwaters and you got an acre of oyster reef in front of that, you're going to get as much protection as you would with the revetment that was designed pretty close to the boardwalk. Because this thing goes 50 feet offshore, so it catches the waves so it breaks them before you get all the way. If you go out with 20 feet of revetment, we'll have some of the same problem we have along Atlantic Avenue where the waves hit the revetment, shoots up to the boardwalk still, and you're still pretty close there. You're not, you know, you're breaking a lot of waves, but it's not out in the water as far. So, and that's kind of for the experts and, you know, whatever to read. But they went to a bunch of places, Eastern Shore and whatever, and they've been really working with like the head scientists on this type of thing. So he's pretty confident, but that doesn't mean it's going to work. You know, it's like that's a lot of money and all. And that would be the bad thing. But I don't know what you do in that case. I guess you got to be a first somewhere. Hopefully it will work. I think we would still get protection from the offshore breakwaters. You know, we get as much protection as you will with the regular just revetment. So, you know, that's what the council has to decide, I guess, or be convinced of. And
So really, they'll both work, but we might get a plus with the oysters.
I don't know if the Bayland saying the other work, but just from, you know, Jay, you've been there when it's been wave action. And if you put 20 more feet of rocks with the angle that is, I see it hitting the rock and shooting up and still damaging the boardwalk because, you know, along Atlantic Avenue, at least we have a 50-foot right-of-way roadway there, you know, asphalt roadway. That area from the corner up to 7th Street, where we're talking about now, you know, that boardwalk's there. You have the sewer pipes there. That has no barrier really. You know, you'd have to go, you know, make that pretty wide, I think, with the rock revetment. But I think Bayland's proposal only called for like 20 feet of revetment there. So you've seen the waves, the way all y'all been down there when the waves crash in there, and 20 feet's not much. It still could take the railing down on the boardwalk there and damage the boardwalk, I think. Just because, but that's, you know, that's beyond my engineering scope to say exactly what would happen. But I think offshore is better just because it's breaking the wave action and it's, you know, has to slow it down, and you still got 50 feet of room, which I think will collect some sand behind there too. And you kind of have a living shoreline, offshore breakwater and an oyster reef. So
that sounds good. That sounds good to me.
I mean, it seems, you know, it's a lot of pros, a lot of cons, but like Gary said, the big deciding thing is will the oysters live? So,
Yeah.
and that's not a small statement, but everything is pointing like a plus, like they will survive. But I mean, I can't guarantee that for sure.
Did you say
The gentleman, I asked both of them to be there at the work session. So hopefully he can go into more detail. And he kind of did at his presentation. I just don't remember everything right off the top of my head, Gary, to be honest with you. Like he did discuss that. And he sent a response back to me. I'll email that to the group. I'm gonna email it to you, but I'll email it to Dave, and we can distribute that to the group too, so they can read through. And if y'all feel free to weigh in before the council meeting, would be great to have you weigh in on it.
So, excuse me, is this all part of the $400,000 that I heard about in the spring?
Yes, sir.
So you're gonna have, in round numbers, say 80 grand for design, and then you go into a permit phase?
That their soil conservations was obtaining permits too, and their price. So that's one good thing. They would for that price, they would help obtain all permits for the project.
Okay, and is there a time limit on the availability of the 400 grand?
Once it's dedicated, we should be good. Once, you know, we get them design in motion, then it's dedicated to that project. So then we're good. It has to be like dedicated.
But that money is from an outside source. It's not from the town. Is that correct?
I'll find that out tomorrow because they have different pots. But I think, and they did give us a budget, Bob, so you know, and the 400 would cover that and the building of the project. But the soil conservation is already, because they want this for their showpiece. So they're already looking for other, like Chesapeake Bay Foundation, and ways to fund the oyster reef part of it. So the town wouldn't, we'd be responsible for the offshore breakwaters is what their game plan is. I'm responsible for the engineering, but they're hoping to receive grant money to do most of the oyster reef itself. I mean, that's not a guarantee, but that they're going to be working to obtain grants, because what they'd like to do is use that, if it does, look good and halfway work, is use that for a showpiece to do other areas in Calvert County to help with the erosion.
Yeah.
But like I say, one of them was 45,000, one was 70. So like you said, round number, hopefully under 70 be designed, whatever, and take care of permits. And we'd have 330 then for construction.
Okay, thanks, Don.
Yep. And once that money's committed, then I think we're good.
All right.
So
The only, unless there's anything more, the last item, in lieu of, unless there's any new business, was Lauren wanted to float the idea of a get together for the flood committee. If anyone has any ideas or.
the only thing real quick, David, I won't hold it up, but we did receive the green infrastructure grant for Greenwood Avenue, and then doing some infrastructure around the parking area around the library there. So we did receive that grant. Tom is no longer with the town, but we did receive that. I did get an email from a company out of Greenbelt that's what they specialize in. So I reached out, I sent an email to them over a week ago, and it's kind of, I thought they would have responded by now, because they're the ones that contacted me and had like their portfolio saying, oh, we do this is our specialty, blah, blah, blah. Please reach out if you have any need. So I did reach out, and they haven't responded back, and it's been a week. So I'm like, I don't know if I want that company doing it, but that's but we'll start to be, along with the RFP person I told you about and the flood committee. That's one thing we're gonna need to get an RFP out on too, is that to get that project, have somebody come down and look at it and see what we can do in those areas to spend.
Did you ever hear from that, did you ever hear back from that firm that did Sunrise Garden?
Yeah, I did, and I sent that to them, and they actually just finished the pump station, Chesapeake Avenue, for me. So I got to meet with them this week anyway. So I'll get back. I did talk to the guy who visited, Kyle, who came up from Florida. He visited everything. Then they had all the storms in Florida, and they were kind of swamped down there. But he said come back up. Yeah, but they had everything in the world going on.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yes.
But I think he was, and then affected a lot of sewage plants and their stuff that they were working on anyway. So, but I'll reach back out to him, and I'll try to get him up here for a site visit. But he did, he saw what the grant covered and what kind of information, the grant would cover and everything else. I did send him that package. So we have two possible firms to look at that. And we floated some ideas about, what to build around that parking lot. Even though it's a parking lot, they're putting some flower beds, putting a bunch of cool stuff that could be educational for the library and helpful for the town for stormwater, and using some pumps and irrigate with some water that we collect there and everything else. And we put some flower beds, gardens in and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
but then, yeah, sorry about that. But then, yeah, we were talking about hopefully having 9th Street finished and having a celebration kind of cookout before it gets too chilly. But I'm open for whatever the committee wants to do, or,
Well, it would be
no,
nice,
it doesn't matter either way.
would be nice to tie it to the completion of a project for sure.
Right.
Well, if anyone has any suggestions, thoughts,
What everybody can do too is think about it and always email Dave if you don't mind, Dave.
no,
They
no,
could shoot you an email and then, because I know the holidays are coming up soon, but the weather's been so nice that we were kind of talking about it last meeting. And then we were hoping that 9th Street might be done now so we could celebrate that. But if anybody has any ideas or even go out to dinner somewhere one night at the local places or whatever, just let me know. Or something at the shop would be, whatever y'all want to do. That's kind of, I'm
all
good.
right, well, send your ideas in and we can circulate them. Any new business otherwise? Any questions or other things to bring up?
Nope.
I think that's a no.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
I'm good. We did have a new, a person who inquired about joining the flood committee. And I told him about the meeting today and to go online and then just introduce himself and, wasn't a formal thing, but, that he's more than welcome to, sit in and see what we talk about, see how we do things. And then, he's, lives right there on Bay Avenue. And, Mark Coopernaul, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. But I don't know if he got online today or not.
I haven't seen him.
Okay.
Haven't seen him.
But if he, I'll reach out to him maybe tomorrow and see what's what. I told him the time and today at 3, just to get online and, introduce yourself and then he's more than welcome to join in and then, go from there. So,
All right.
all right,
Okay.
folks.
Okay, well, have a happy Turkey Day, everybody. See you next,
Okay.
see you next month, huh?
okay.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Right.
All right. see
Gary,
you.
I'll reach out, Gary, if you have any questions or whatever. And then, on the pump station or the, proposals.
Okay,
Just feel free and I'll email you, cause it was a good question and answer thing back and forth, but I'll email you, cause Lauren had a lot of questions about the same thing that you did too. And the guy did respond with a pretty lengthy email. So I'll send you what his responses were.
okay. Thanks, Donnie.
See you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Donnie.
Yes, sir. Thank you.